Yo guys, Jarek the Game & Dragon doing some Dirt 3 gameplay. Haven't done some Dirt 3 in quite a while, so I figured I'd go back and play some Dirt 3. Dirt is easily my favorite racing series. It's not that I'm not really a giant... Okay, well it is that I'm not really a giant fan of racing games, but I like off-road racing games, and I don't really like a lot of street racing. So Dirt 3 caters to what I like a lot, and you don't see many rally-type racing games. So yeah, it's exactly what I like. Other than this, I used to play a lot of stuff like MX vs. ATV. I'm not a big fan of the later MX vs. ATV games. I feel very cartoonish and the physics feel just broken as all living fuck. But yeah, I definitely like more off-road type stuff more than street racing. So I like off-road racing games, but Dirt has to be easily my favorite racing game. Anyway, this is what I'm doing right now is the last rally event in the career mode, and this is, I think it's like the Ultimate Rally Challenge or something like that. I can't remember what it is. But it's part of the regular career mode in your last season leading up to the finals. So that's what it is. Going to be putting all 4 of those races in here, and all of them are decently long. The first one, I don't remember where it is, but it's absolutely downpouring, so you're kind of sliding all over the place. And I don't know, I kind of like this race just because this is pretty much the exact environment of which I live. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so you're going to be getting a lot of rain. It's going to be overcast all the time. Going to be a lot of mud, a lot of clay, and a lot of pine trees all around. So it's pretty much what I'm used to at this point. Anyway, I'm really tired right now. So if I sound exhausted or something like that, it's because I am exhausted. My sleep is kind of screwed up. The reason being is because last weekend, as you probably already know, I was on an airsoft game, and I have a sleeping disorder. So I cannot sleep at night. I just can't. If I manage to sleep at night, it's not very deep and it doesn't last for very long in any way whatsoever. On top of that sleeping disorder, which the sleeping disorder I'm referring to is delayed sleep phase syndrome, I can sleep perfectly fine. But it's just not at night, as I've explained. So I can sleep in the day, and usually I get 7 to 10 hours of sleep, closer to 10 usually. So I get a lot of sleep. So it's not that I can't sleep, it's just that I sleep at a different time. And really there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that my time of going to bed is different than everyone else. So people will ask me, well, why don't you get it fixed? There's nothing really to get fixed. It's just what I prefer. I mean, hell, if I got it, quotation mark, fixed, it would just cause more problems for me because I prefer to be up at night anyway. So yeah, that doesn't really cause much of a problem. But on top of that, I also have sleep paralysis, and sleep paralysis really kicks in at nighttime and makes it really hard for me to sleep. Anyway, that's the first race. Let's move on to the next race, which I believe is in Kenya at nighttime. And Kenya, got to be my favorite races in Kenya when it comes to rally and trailblazer races. So here's some good rally in Kenya with the cockpit view. Anyway, going back to what I was talking about with my sleep. Now that I've kind of explained when I sleep and how I sleep, usually I go to bed around 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning, and then I wake up anywhere between noon to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's my normal time of sleeping, and I prefer that. Honestly, I feel better if I just sleep from when the sun comes up to when the sun goes down. That's honestly where I feel better, but I gotta get some stuff done in the day. So, gotta throw that out there. And why does this matter in any way whatsoever? Well, the airsoft game, I had to be up at 6 in the morning. Well, that's the time I usually go to sleep. So basically, I gotta stay up all night long and then stay up all day long and get literally no sleep while running around in full gear, which, I mean, I run light as is, but you're still running around all day long doing a pretty mentally heavy thing where you gotta constantly be scanning. I mean, I live in a subtropical rainforest, so when you're out airsofting out in a subtropical rainforest, you gotta watch everywhere around you, and it's very hard to point out one very specific thing in a bush where really you don't know anyone's there until you see slight movement. So, I mean, it's something that's kind of mentally strenuous, and doing that on no sleep is actually kind of difficult. And then usually I crash sometime around 7 at night after the airsoft game. While everyone's kind of around the campfire, I go to sleep, and I don't really get a whole lot of sleep because I can't sleep at night, so it throws my sleep way the hell off. By the time I get home, I'm sleeping at really odd hours, like I'm going to bed at like 11 in the morning and waking up pretty much at 9 at night and stuff like that. So yesterday or the day before, I can't even remember at this point, I went to bed at 11 in the morning and I woke up at midnight. So my sleep is all fucking messed up right now, and I just stayed up all day today to kind of fix what's going on. I'm trying to suffer a little bit because right now I feel like I just want to pass out. So yeah, I'm very tired, to say the very least, now that you got some more insight as to my sleeping disorder and why I'm tired. I'm tired. I guess that's the moral of the story. I want to go to bed. But I know if I go to sleep now, I'm not going to get a whole lot of sleep. It'd be the same as you staying up all night and then sleeping in the day, pretty much. It would feel very strange. And even if you managed to do it, it wouldn't feel like you really got a whole lot of sleep. So there's the next race. I absolutely obliterated them in this race. I won by literally almost 10 seconds, so I really, really got the jump on these guys and did pretty well. Anyway, the next race here is in Norway while it's snowing, and I had not played Dirt 3 in a while, like I mentioned, so this race was kind of difficult for me. I had to get readjusted to how snow works. You slide all over the place, and snow really, really affects your traction. You have no traction whatsoever, which, I mean, it's common sense, but you got to get readjusted to it, and really the way I have found driving in the snow to be the easiest and most effective is doing a lot of coasting and using the handbrake. If I use the regular brake, you just won't turn. You'll just keep on going straight, which is, I mean, that's how you react in snow. Yeah, you kind of got to learn how to work your way around snow. Using your handbrake a lot and kind of coasting into corners really, really helps, especially with wide corners like that. Now, I don't know if you can really see it or not, but flooring it in the snow, I mean, this is kind of common sense. Flooring it in the snow as you're coming out of a turn really doesn't help too much. You can do it and eventually you'll get traction, you'll speed out of there, but in general, if you just kind of ease on the gas out of a corner, it helps a lot more, unless you're trying to keep momentum up as you're drifting, which I'm sure you've noticed as I play Dirt. I drift all over the place. I might as well be called Drift 3 because that's what I do. Just drift all over, and really, that's a big criticism people will have, is that there's too much drifting in Dirt. You don't have to race that way, for one, and two, you're doing rally in Dirt in four-wheel drive cars that's built specifically for rally. Of course you're going to be drifting a lot. That's just how it works, and that's how people drive when they do rally. So yeah, kind of a slobby race. Actually, all these races here are sort of a slobby race for me. I don't know if it's because I'm half asleep, and actually I'm pretty sure that's the reason. It's because I'm half asleep and I really am at the point of I just don't care. As long as I come in first place, I don't care how slobby it is. I just want to get it done. I'm in that mood at this point. I'm really just kind of doing this to try to keep myself awake and occupied. But yeah, I just wanted to ask this because I'm kind of interested to see what responses I'll get. Do you guys have any sleeping disorders, or what's going on with you guys? Because, I mean, I've mentioned how many sleeping disorders I have. It's partnered with a few other sleeping disorders. Like I said, it's really interesting how that works out. You have one sleeping disorder, and usually that one sleeping disorder will be partnered up with, like, 4 or 5 other ones. Like, for me, for instance, delayed sleep phase syndrome is partnered up with sleep paralysis very, very intensely. Sleep paralysis is almost a nightly thing for me, and if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, basically it's when you wake up and your mind has kind of woken up, but your body is still in that state of being asleep, so you can't move in any way whatsoever. And half of your mind sometimes will get stuck in that mood of being still asleep. So your body's paralyzed, you can't move. The most you can do is very shallow breathing. You can't breathe deep in any way, and if you can eventually force yourself to move enough to break out of it, then you'll eventually be able to do that. And you know, after you get used to it, it's at the first time it happens to you, you're like, oh god, I can't move, and you're kind of scared, but then you get used to it, and I've kind of just lived with it my whole life, so it's just like a daily thing for me. But the other thing is that you are technically still half sleeping, so you might end up seeing some of the things that you see in your sleep, like say right next to your bed, and you basically are hallucinating what you're sleeping, and it leads to some very interesting things. And nothing off the top of my head comes up, just because it happens so often. It's like a regular thing for me now, so nothing off the top of my head will really come up. But it's very interesting. On top of that, it could also lead to something called lucid dreaming, where you know you're asleep, but you can kind of affect what's going on in your dream, and it also feels like you're disconnected from your body in a way. And you could look more into Google. I don't feel like fully explaining it, but it leads to some very, very interesting times, to say the least. And it is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like, a lot of people will absolutely hate sleep paralysis, and I've lived with it my whole life, so I'm pretty used to it, and honestly, I'm pretty indifferent. I really don't care if it's there or not. My other sleeping disorder, delayed sleep phase syndrome, it's not just a sleeping disorder. I mean, it has a lot of other side effects. It really does kind of shape your personality a little bit. It has a lot of effects, like I just said. There's side effects other than just you can't sleep at night, you have to sleep in the day when the sun's up. And honestly, if I said I didn't like the sleeping disorder, I'd plain be lying, because like I said, it kind of shapes your personality and shapes who you are. And it's really, I mean, it's a part of me, and it's just what I've gotten used to it. And like I said, even if I didn't have that sleeping disorder, I'd be up all night long anyway. And I don't know, I just kind of prefer the night over the day either way. Maybe that's just because I live in a city where it's overcast 9 months out of the year, and I'm used to it being dark and gloomy, or some other reason that I can't come up with, but I do. I like it more. And like I said, I'd be lying if I said I didn't like my sleeping disorder in any way. I really have no motivation to fix it. On top of that, well, fix it, quotation marks. On top of that, if I wanted to fix it, it would be expensive as living fuck. Basically, you have to buy these incredibly expensive lights that are supposed to simulate the sun's rays, and the regular ones aren't going to work for this. They have to be a very certain brand, and really, they have to be strong. And this is something that you have to use over months and months of, basically it's a year-long progress or whatnot, and you have to continuously use it, which is also very expensive when it comes to the power bill.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. Just keep that up all the way to the final.
Yeah, glad to see you not letting your nerves get the better of you. That was a great finish.
Anyway, talked for a long time. There's some more Dirt 3 gameplay for you guys. Hope you enjoy it. See you later.